Hello there, this is Cookies. I've got turn one of this MA Asphodel series. There's a few mods in this. So you can see them here. The majorly different arrival is defined as Divine Ascendancy, which is a slate of buffs to different pretenders. Mainly adds path bonuses to especially a lot of Titans or like bonus paths. So it's a little bit easier to get them higher in paths. And it gets rid of a lot of forging malices. And I forget, there might be some more discounts. It doesn't really matter to us because we're taking a really boring rainbow. We've got an alternative goal in this, which is we want to we're playing extremely greedy. So if we die before the Bless wakes up, that's fine. It'll probably be in time before the second round of the tournament starts, which is perfectly acceptable. Or we end up winning our first war, and then our Bless wakes up, and then we have a really cool game. The Bless is Fire Res, Defense Skill +4, Blood Surge, Righteous Wrath, and Awareness. Pretty solid Bless for kind of like early in the game. You have a lot of defense skill on the Centaur, which helps offset the Berserker, keeps them fairly high defense. You got Righteous Wrath for more stat boosts, Blood Surge again, a little bit of fire resistance, some awareness, which also helps. And then, at least with harassment, and then sleeping is Unholy Weapons. And Unholy Weapons is the really funny secret sauce meme part of this build, which is sacred units for Asphodel have Sleep Vines. Sleep Vines have 3 attacks. And with this, even though it all targets the same unit, which is a downside, you get 3 procs of Unholy Weapons because you have 3 attacks with the Sleep Vines. Then you would have something like a Hoof attack, and then it would proc Unholy Weapons again. So every sacred unit, so even this Carrion Centaur, if we geared it up, as long as it had the Sleep Vines and the Hoof, it would have 7 attacks with 7 procs of Unholy Weapons. And it's not really a secret. It has been something that I've been chatting about with Zan for, I want to say, about a year now. We just haven't really had the opportunity to play Asphodel yet. It does work with vampiric weapons. I've seen some discussions about that. So I'm assuming it's known for certain folks that it does indeed work with weapons blesses. But in this case, we're going to do it with unholy weapons. And that should allow our sacreds to just absolutely toast enemy sacreds in combat. And if we can win that matchup, then hopefully our mannequins can win the matchup against mundane troops. We're still going to have a vulnerability versus buffed mundane troops. And later on against Firestorm, mannequins aren't sacred. They still burn. Even with 5 fire res, they'll still burn. So that's going to be a hard thing to overcome later in the game. But hopefully we have a fun battle or two where we get to show off the unholy weapons. So that's kind of the goal here. Now, if we don't end up showing this off, then, oh well, maybe we can try to do this in a different game, but it is what it is. All right, or I can maybe show it off in a test game and then people can use it. All right, So we've got trusty research on, we've got magic scales, so we've got a bunch of starting research. We're going to put that into alteration. This is mostly for bark skin. There's some other useful stuff in here, but we want bark skin. And then we're going to run down enchantment. We could take a detour and go to like construction 3 or construction 5, pick up dream stones, and then really rocket around different research levels. The way I'm going to play this is the power spike of rigor mortis and foul vapors is big enough that I'm going to try and just go straight to enchantment 6. And the earlier we can get that, the better. If that comes online with our bless, maybe around the same time, even a little bit, then we could really be cooking, because then we'll have our fatigue play, our poison damage play, and our unholy weapons meme all online at the same time. And we can probably go just absolutely butcher a sacred heavy nation that hasn't taken poison res. And I think that would be fun. So, but we'll see if we get there. The hard part's getting there. So we start off with this guy. We're going to profit our Minotaur here. And he's going to take his stuff. So he's got a bunch of satyrs. And we're going to start with recruiting Black Centaur and a Hierophant. And we're just going to profit this guy, and then we're going to see what indies pop up. These satyrs really suck. Maybe the way I use them, I don't know, but they seem to really suck. They've got very little protection. They aren't the hardest hitting troops with 14 damage. It's going to be a little bit tough. MA's got tougher indies. Maybe that would work in EA, but this is MA. So let's go ahead and jump into turn 2 and see what pops up. All right, so I've got turn 2 here. So I'll pop open the like profit names. So Hagmaxer is going to be the prophet of Tricky Old Witch, Kind Old Lady, and Angry Old Hag. We've got Scalaria, Daylight Savings, Bloody Mary, Pink Lemonade, King of Twilight, God of Poetry and Song. Sounds like a lot of glamour, maybe. Pythium. Oh, goodness. She Who Mounts the Clouds, the Persuasive One. We've got Agartha with no Cave Selene. Rock Hard Ramming, good grief. August God, He Who Tempers the Spirit, the Divine Architect, Master of Inventions. Fireball's the Warlord. Springtime Free, Master of Eternity, The Fate of the World, Opener of the Ways, the Undeceivable. Abyssia, oh, wait, Nabah. Praying Ubar doesn't get banned. The Prophet of Kirby Redson, the Burning Soul, Lord of Brilliance, Counselor of Gods. And then we've got Shinyama, Squee. By the way, Nabah's played by iFlight in this game, so it's not Kirby playing it. Squee, the Bakemono General, is the Prophet of Shrek 3.0. We got someone who failed to name their person. Lord of the Dawn, God of Disease, Watcher of the Gallows, Lord of Terror. Spin on the egg. Oh, Hawk Tarantula. Oh, gosh. King of Birds and Parrots, Lord of Fertility, God of the Spring, and Knit of Anger. Gain set too high, the Crow Clan Scout, known as Prophet of Logitech, Yeti Silver, He Whose Jest is Death, He of the Dreamlands, Prince of Strength, the Morning Star. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move into these wolf tribe here. I think it's what our little derps can handle best. And we've got some of these centaurs set on attack archers on the flank. And we've got divine blessing. We're going to go ahead and recruit some more centaurs. This guy is going to sit here and wait for a new party to form, and then he's going to lead that out. All right. So I'll go ahead and pull up turn 3. Okay, I've got turn 3. And we've got some gold, actually. Just realized I had another instance of the game running, so just making sure that doesn't get in the way. All right, so we got a really lucky event. We get 230 gold. And turn off grid here. And this looks like a reasonable roll, so maybe we can take this. We do not, in fact, make it to the archers. Unfortunately, these guys chase. There might be some replay bugs. We had a patch about a week ago, but hopefully we clean this all up. Okay. So we do take pretty heavy attrition here, but we win the province, which is good. We find a Lake of Mists, so that's also good. We're going to get another Hierophant. We're going to get some more Black Centaur. That maxes out our holy points. And we're going to go focus in on these barbarians. So we're bringing our first little batch of mannequins. We're bringing these guys, and we're bringing the 2 groups of centaur. The world is also expanding a little bit. We see a cave entrance over here under the Gold Mountains. We see a couple of swamps. We do have 3 forests in our cap circle, which is really nice. And we've got another one over here. So probably a pretty strong incentive to expand over here, but that'll kind of be determined by the Indies. Okay. So I'll go ahead and see you in turn 4. All right, so I've got turn 4 pulled up here. Okay, this is more what I'm used to. We got a bunch of unrest in the province we just took. So we should meet about the same time. Some of the barbarians sneak by. They're getting caught up on the mannequins, at least. These guys are routing again. It's what they do best. And unfortunately, they do make it off the field this time. So what's the attrition? Not too bad. We lose most of the satyrs again. Nothing important, and some of our stuff retreats. Okay. Oh, we get a profit from end. Primate King. Okay. All right. I would pay more attention to the epithets, but I am just too lazy right now. So let's see. So we've got some lion tribe over here. We've got a number of black centaur. We've got some kind of like some bait out in front, and then we've got some mannequins in the back to catch anything that gets by. So we're going to go ahead and roll into Spires of Ascension. This guy's going to go ahead and cast Reanimation. We've got a few death gems. And Reanimation's going to be nice because it'll give us a few skeletons to work with. This guy's reanimating. We've got some centaur now. So we're going to go ahead and pick up a Black Dryad, Holy 2, so it can bless 2 parties of these efficiently, typically without missing any. Because losing a Black Dryad are a kind of like a time-bound resource. because your population is pop killing. So you're not going to be able to recruit 5 or 6 of them every turn all game. And at some point you're going to be down to recruiting just 1 or 2. Probably 1, I think. So you have to be very careful, in my opinion, with how you use and lose Black Dryads. You definitely don't want to be just tossing their lives away. All right. Because eventually you won't be able to replace them, and it'll affect how much you can mass them later in the game for an important battle. All right, so we've got them set up. We're going to go after these Lion Tribe, and I will see you in turn 5. All right, I've got turn 5 pulled up. We cast Reanimation, no events. That's a good thing. Going after these Lion Tribe. Now we're going to eat a bunch of these Javelins, which is not good. Okay. So we lose a few of our satyrs again, but we take the province and we see a Shinyama dragon. So it's an azure dragon of the east. That's kind of scary. I don't want to bump it, especially when stuff like this is buffed a lot in this mod. So I'm assuming it'll go here or here. So I'm going to go over here. And then I've got this stuff heading south. This is going to be our new party. Then for recruitment, we've got this. And I submitted this turn, and then I went to work. And at work, I got a few messages from this guy talking about borders. But I didn't know which provinces he was talking about. And the turn rolled while I was at work before I got home. And so we're going to end up bumping, which is unfortunate because I don't really want to fight Shinyama. I just want to do my expansion. But that's the nature of things sometimes. It was an extremely hectic couple of weeks for me. I was helping someone move, and I had a bunch of work being done on my shower, and I was stressed out about work. So it was a pretty awful combination. Wasn't able to give this turn necessarily everything in terms of communication. So let's go ahead and see how we bump in turn 6. All right, so I've got turn 6 pulled up. And we've started summoning Carrion Centaur. Oh, that was another reason I got this Dryad, was to be able to do this. Because I wanted to get a certain number of Carrion Centaur out early, even if it sacrificed a fort, just so I had a consistent source of mannequins. And then I'll go towards focusing on forts. So we've got Vinemen. These blowpipes can actually be pretty devastating to elite troops because of the fatigue, that damage that they can cause. So we'll see if anyone gets fatigued out. So we see this guy, he's already gotten up to 32 fatigue. We got some of the woodsmen to rout. Fortunately, the mannequins just walk past each other. But they break, and these guys fall apart. So we get a little bit lucky there. I believe the battle goes worse. This might be a replay bug. It goes worse for us in the actual combat. I think the woodsmen stick around longer, and we end up losing 3 Black Centaur. So pretty rough blow. We'll have to send this group back to the capital, maybe, or merge it. And then we've got Gifa. So we've got a large group on the flank here. So just moving in on these indies, we attract the archers, which is unfortunate. All right. So here we don't lose much. And then we bump with Shinyama. So Shinyama's got these Obakemono, which hit ridiculously hard. They're recruitable ogres. And then we've got some of the disciplined Bakemono, some of the undisciplined Bakemono kind of mixed in. And, oh, and then we've got his prophet, which is Squee. So let's see how we do. So the Bakemono catch the lances. We lose a centaur to smite. Exactly the reason why I didn't want to have these sorts of bumps. Is losing Black Centaur in a fight that doesn't like become part of a war or gain me territory just is bad. We do end up routing the army though. And then the other provocative piece of this is now we've killed his prophet and his expansion party, so we've hurt his expansion too. And he paid a fair amount for it because he took an awake. So just all in all unfortunate. We do end up losing a Black Centaur here, so we've lost 4 this turn. Which sucks because that's almost a turn's worth of recruitment. Meanwhile, we're gonna merge parties, I think, where I can. So we're gonna try and take on these 80 barbs by merging all this. So we've got a fair amount of Black Centaur. They're gonna be on hold-in attacks so they can filter in. So other stuff can take the initial brunt of the barbarian charge. And then we're gonna ping this and see how many knights are here. And we're recruiting a bit. Also getting the odd Black Harpy scout now that we've got a little bit more money. Okay, so this had kind of like a dulling effect on my Diplo was Shinyama. Originally, he wanted to take this, and then I could have this. I didn't know where his cap was. Turns out it's right here. So it was something that put each other within 2 of each other's cap, but there was a benefit where I get a forest, he gets this coastline, so it kind of makes for a more, well, I think I get these 2. So it kind of made for like a little bit nicer border where he was always on the other side of mountains from me. But it ends up just kind of freezing out, I guess. And I probably could have kept talking to him about it. But I also kind of want, and I really like having provinces 2 away from my cap. So, and there's still potentially these other 2 forests, so we'll see what happens. All right, and we've got a few carrion centaurs now, so we've got 3 of these. So we're getting decent mannequin production. We've got a couple of carrion furies, which if I'm still alive for the Unholy Weapons Bless later on, there'll be 5 different attacks that proc Unholy Weapons whenever they're fighting Sacreds. So that'll be really cool. And they're Berserker 5. So yeah, that'll be fun. And then even these guys, because they'll also have 5 attacks. So even they would be okay in melee at that point. All right, so I think that's it for this one. Do we have time? Yeah, I think we have time. I'll go ahead and do one more turn. All right, so I've got turn 7 pulled up. We got a Hydra skin armor, which is pretty cool. In Midland, I think I've completely forgotten about it, but pretty cool. All right, so we check out the number of knights. And it's quite a few. We're looking at 19 knights, including the commanders. We'll need a fair amount of lance bait. Kind of tough having that in the cap circle. This barbarian stack, though, turns out to be smaller than what I thought, which is nice. All right. So, I mean, we lose some stuff, but none of it really matters. And we take the province, so that was good. All right, so this group is going to split now. We're going to go after White Peaks and Silver Wall. And Midland, this is not enough stuff, though, for 29s. Yeah, this is ambitious. And then we're pinging other provinces, seeing how many heavy cav, seeing how many barbarians. Recruiting some more. Turned off the harpy production. And I mean, this is only taking a couple of minutes. It's just expansion. So let's go ahead and do turn 8. All right, so I've got turn 8. We get some earth gems. That's nice. Another carrion centaur. So let's see how we do. Silver wall. There's a little bit of heavy cap here, but not very much, and some heavy infantry. Satyr eats the lance. We're getting blessed out, which I don't like. Kill the commanders. All right, and take the province. So don't lose any Black Centaur there, so it's a good expansion. In White Peaks. Going after these wolf tribe. We got some supporting mannequins. All right. Again, we don't lose any Black Centaur, so it's a good expansion. In Midland, we've got some lance catchers. Then we ride in to fight the knights, but we get spread out a bit, which is not good. And the militia are coming in. Now, unfortunately, some of our centaur get surrounded. The others have good sense to run, and we throw there. So we lose 3 Black Centaur. 101 back to friendly territory. And everyone survives that didn't die. But still lost 3 Black Centaur. Not a good turn for expansion. In Haloma, we go ahead and ping. So I guess I just need to pull up the scout report. Got 13 heavy cav. Nothing crazy. And in Gold Mountains, we're looking at 74 barbarians. Also nothing crazy. So I've lost, I think over the course of this game, maybe 2 turns worth of centaur production. So not super great. It's not perfect, definitely. We're getting a Black Dryad and another group of centaur, though. And yeah, this little group is going to go ahead and run after these lion tribe. I do have a border arrangement with Shinyama, so it's, I don't think either of us are super thrilled about it, but it's what we ended up with. I told him he could have Green Coast, which now I realize that this is cutting off. And so he has to walk around this mountain, which is it's kind of weird how this has a connection. So yeah, probably should have traded this for this. Gonna go ahead and go for Knees Plain. Gonna go after more Lion Tribe in Towers of Heaven. Gonna go after Haloma with a new expansion party because this one looked pretty weak. And we're gonna go ahead and ping this and see what the hell is here. All right. So I think we're at 30 minutes, so that's probably good for here. So, and then in the next episode, we can finish off expansion. So I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, everyone. Later.